Hello everyone and welcome to this H5P Content Author webinar. I'm glad to see all of you joining. My name is Magnus Magnussen. I am a UX engineer working in a company called Jubel, and I'm also a part of the H5P core team, which works on developing and improving the H5P technology on a daily basis. The agenda for today's webinar is the following parts. First, we'll do this welcome and short introduction session. Then we'll go through a scenario where we'll create an interactive video. Then we'll do the same thing with the course presentation content type. And at the end, we will have a short question and answer session. Let me give you a short introduction before we get into the content authoring. This is the first H5P content authoring webinar we're organizing. And for me as the webinar host, it's my first time. So please bear this in mind while you're watching this webinar. I have created this webinar for beginners. So you don't need a lot of previous knowledge about H5P to get started. You can just watch and you'll probably learn some new tricks that you weren't aware of using the H5P editor. The duration of the webinar is approximately 1 hour, and we're trying to spend most of the time in the interactive video and the course presentation editor creating content and demonstrating that to you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them as we go along. There is a questions interface in the GoToWebinar application, and I would encourage you to use that to ask any questions you have. My colleague Paul is also on the line here, and he will try to answer your questions as best and as quickly as possible along the way. So while I'll be focusing on the demonstration by sharing my screen with you, Paul will try to answer your questions along the way. I should also let you know that a recording of this webinar will be published at a later stage. You will be notified by email with a link to the recording, and we will also publish this link on h5p.org and our social media channels, Facebook and Twitter. I would encourage you to follow H5P on both of those channels. For those of you that are new to H5P, let me give a short description. H5P aims to make it easy for everyone to create, share, and reuse rich interactive content. So in order to use H5P, you can either use h5p.org and create content on that website and share a link or embed the content on your own site. But you can also use the plugins to publish content on your own site. And currently we support WordPress and Drupal. So in order to use H5P and publish content on your own site or a site that you administer, you'll need to have a WordPress or Drupal site, and you need to have the H5P plugin installed in order to start creating and publishing the content on your own site. So H5P works in that way that you can create content based on various content templates, and these templates are made to fit various use cases. We call these templates content types, and you can find all of them at the examples and downloads page on h5p.org. And of course, we'll be going through the two most popular content types today, which are the interactive video content type and the course presentation content type. Finally, H5P, as you probably know, is open source and it's therefore free to use. The code for H5P is available on GitHub, and all of you with technical knowledge are encouraged to help improving and developing H5P. I think we are ready to begin by looking at the interactive video content type. So I've prepared a short interactive video and we'll try to recreate that afterwards. What we'll be going through are video sources and the various start screen options for the interactive video. We'll add some bookmarks. We'll look into interactions and the two display modes for interactions, which are poster view and button view. And we'll also add adaptivity to the interactions, allowing you as an author to send the user to a specific point in the video based on how the end user answers a question, for instance. So I will switch now to my browser and I will show you a interactive video that I have created on h5p.org. We'll just quickly go through that. So here we have a poster appearing with some information about raspberries. You can see the various bookmarks down here. And we'll have a button interaction here, which has added some adaptivity to it. And we'll get back to that later and how we create that. I will be using the H5P editor on h5p.org for demonstrating this. H5p.org is built on a Drupal 7 installation. So this is a Drupal environment. However, the H5P editors are very similar across WordPress and Drupal installations. And the only difference is the CMS-specific interface. For instance, how you save and edit content. I have already got to the admin menu. I have selected create content and then selected interactive content from the admin menu. And I've given the content I want to create a title. To get started and to load the editor, I will select the correct content type from the drop-down menu here. And since I will be creating an interactive video, I will select interactive video from the drop-down. And after a few seconds, the editor should load into your browser. So we'll be looking at video sources and start screen options now. So there are several ways of adding video sources to an interactive video. The first thing you can do is you can add a URL to an MP4 file, which is located anywhere on the web. The second is you can embed a YouTube video. And the third is to upload videos that you have locally on your computer. So we'll try these various approaches. I'm using a video conversion service called Online Convert, and that has allowed me to get a link to an MP4 video file on the web. And here's the link, and I will just copy that one. And I will go back into the interactive video editor and press the plus button here under video files. And in this case, I'll just paste in the URL I just copied. So there is the URL to the MP4 video file, and I press insert. And I can see that the MP4 icon has shown up here. Now I just want to see that it works. I can do two things. I can press save to preview it, but I can also jump to add interactions just to preview the video. And I can see now that it's working the way it was supposed to. So that's one way of adding a video source, a link to an MP4 file. Now let me demonstrate how to add a YouTube video as the video source. As you may already have guessed, raspberries will be the main theme for the demonstrations I'll be making today. And here we have a YouTube video about some raspberries in slow motion. But the point here is that I want to use this as a video source. So I can either copy the URL here or this share link. And in this case, I'll just use the share link. So I copied that by using my keyboard shortcuts, Control-C, and I will jump back to the editor, press the plus button again, and paste in the URL in the input field here. So there we can see that the YouTube icon has appeared. And just to preview how the video works, I go to the Add Interactions tab here and press play just to make sure it's working. Okay, it looks like it's working. Fine. So that was how we add a YouTube video as a video source to our interactive video. Okay, finally I'll do the uploaded video files approach. So I have prepared a few video files that I have locally on my computer, and I will add these. So in this case, I'll just press the select file to upload button in the pop-up here. So here we'll see that I have 4 video files. I have one high-res and one low-res MP4 video file, and I have one high-res and one low-res WebM file. Now it's entirely up to you if you want to add multiple quality versions of your video. But if you use uploaded video files as the video source, I would recommend you to add both a MP4 and a WebM version to ensure maximum compatibility across all browsers. So I'll start by double-clicking on the high-res WebM video. It will take a little moment to upload. So this is the high-res version, so it takes a little bit longer. And once it has uploaded, it appears as an icon here. Next, I want to do exactly the same thing, but now I'll take the high-res MP4 version. And this will also upload. So what this does, it allows the browser to select the most appropriate video file for displaying. Now I've added both the WebM and the MP4 versions of the high-res video, and I will just do the same thing for the low-res versions. So I'll add the WebM first. And I'll add the MP4 second. Normally I would press this button, edit copyright, and I would enter all the licensing information about this type of video file. But for the sake of this demonstration, I won't do it now. To show you how this works, I will now press save. So we can see the video has obviously been loaded, and I can select between the two qualities that are available. So this is the Chrome browser, and Chrome prefers the MP4 video file for displaying video. So these are the two MP4 qualities that are available. So I can select between those two qualities if I like. Okay, and that was the bit about the video sources. There are a few other options on this upload/embed video tab, you can change the poster image. By default, the poster image will just be automatically selected, but you can override it and add your own poster image if you like. The poster image is the image that is shown before you actually start playing the video. And I can also change the title here. Raspberries. It was a little bit less generic, and I will now look into the start screen options to see what I can do here. So in order to create a more minimalistic look, I can press the hide title on video start screen if I like. I will press save now just to demonstrate. So this only has the play icon and no title. So I press edit again to demonstrate the other options. So I uncheck this again because I want to show the Raspberry title, and I will add the short description, which is entirely optional. So my short description is watch raspberries in slow motion. I will save this again to preview it for you. So here we have the play icon, we have the title, and we have the optional description shown here. So those are the kind of variations that you can make on the interactive video start screen, depending on what you need. I'd just also like to show you one more quick thing, which has nothing to do with the interactive video editor itself, but I can choose to hide the action bar and frame here. So I uncheck display action bar and frame, which will hide the usual frame around the H5P content, which allows for a more seamless integration of your content on your site. But it also removes the download button, so the reuse aspect gets a bit weaker if you hide the button, but it depends on what you need here. So I'll just press the edit button again. I'll check the display action bar and frame, and also I want the download button, the copyright button, and the embed button to be visible the next time I save. Okay, so this was the upload and embed video tab, which is where your preparations for creating an interactive video starts. And we'll be getting into the video itself by pressing on the Add Interactions tab here. So what we'll see now is a preview of the video. I can press play to preview the video while I'm editing it. And we have some buttons here. These are various interactions that you can add to the video. And on the bottom here, we have a bookmarks button next to the play button. And we'll start by just adding some bookmarks to this interactive video before we get into adding the interactions. This is a pretty short video for the sake of this demonstration. And the only natural aspect I can think of here to divide this into various chapters is the various camera angles that we have here. So I'll just add a bookmark for the various angles. So I'll go back to the beginning, and here we have the first angle change. I will press the bookmarks button here, then add bookmark, and then go right angle 2, because angle 1 is at the beginning of the video. I'll just press enter to save that bookmark. I will preview some more of the video. Oh, there we had another angle change. Just scroll back a little bit and then press add bookmark again. Angle 3, I will title it, and I press enter to save. And there should be one last angle change here at the end. There it was. Just moving back to here, pressing the bookmarks button, then add bookmark, and angle 4. Now, as you probably know, these can be used in a lot of different ways, but the main point is that you can allow your users to open the bookmarks menu and select various parts of the video to watch directly. Just demonstrate by pressing save. And as an end user, I can press play and I can open the bookmarks menu, and there I just jump to angle 3 and now back to angle 2 again. So it allows your user to just jump directly to a chapter or an important part in the video without having to see everything before. Okay, so that was the bookmarks feature. Hope you are all that you understand how to use this this feature. We'll try to create some more interactions now. So what I'll do now is I'll add an info box as a poster around 3 seconds here, 2 seconds. So I'll just use the text interaction. I'll drag it onto the video. I can press remove to delete it and just to show it again. So I'm pressing the T button here. I'm dragging it onto the video and place it where I want it. And then automatically the text editor opens in a pop-up. And the first thing I will do is to define when this should be displayed. So the start time is automatically selected as well as the end time, but I don't want it to show for 10 seconds. I only want it to be visible for 1 second. I want to pause the video, and I want this to be a poster interaction. So the difference between button interactions and poster interactions is that button interactions, you have to press them in order to open them, while poster interactions are displayed directly on top of the video. We'll see how this works. So I'll just go back to my pre-prepared demo content, and I'll just copy this text. And I will paste it into the text field here. So this is just some information about raspberries, a few facts about raspberries. Okay, nothing more to add here, so I press done. So since I have selected a poster interaction, I'm immediately shown the text box on top of the video. And as you can see, I can't see all the text. It's been cut off. So I would like to resize it so that all the text is visible, which makes it look a bit nicer and user-friendly. So I just pulled in one of the corners to resize this this poster interaction, and I just grabbed the poster interaction and dragged it around to reposition it where I want it. I could also change the position by using coordinates if I want to be very specific. So instead of 420, I could write 400 here. As of course, this is the X position, and this is the Y position in a coordinate system, where 0 is at the upper left corner here. In order to edit this poster interaction again, I can either press the edit button here on the context menu, or I can double click on it. And I can also delete it by pressing remove within the editor, or by pressing the remove button in the context menu. So now I have added the poster interaction, I have resized it, I have positioned it where I want it, and I'm pretty happy about that. So you'll see it appears at 2 seconds into the video, and it pauses the video because I want to draw the user's attention towards this information box once it pops up. I could, of course, uncheck the pause video, which would just display the poster while the video is playing. Now I want to add a second interaction, and that will be a multiple choice question towards the end of the video, which will ask the end user a question about the information box that was presented earlier in the video. And I'll do the same thing as I did for the text box. I'll use the drag and drop to add the multiple choice question. So I'll just drag it onto the video and place it where I want it. Of course, I can reposition it later if I like. Once I've released the mouse button, the multiple choice editor loads, and I'll have the same options as I had for the text box earlier. In this case, I'll again choose only to display it for a second, and I would also like to pause the video again to get the user to focus on this question and answering it before proceeding. Now in this case, I would like to use the button interaction, so I'll not select poster but button, and I will add a label to this button interaction. You can write anything here, but I will press the button to continue. I'll quickly add some question content. So I'll use the Raspberry photo here as a question image, and as I mentioned earlier, I will add the copyright and licensing info usually, but I won't do that now. I will add a question, and I will go back to the info box in the beginning here. So we see that one of the facts about raspberries are that they contain more vitamin C than oranges. So this will be the question. Which fruit contains the highest share of vitamin C? So that is the question, and the answering options are raspberries. And I will mark this as the correct answering option, and I'll add oranges as an incorrect answering option here. And that's really all I need to create this multiple choice question. I could have, of course, skipped the image. So when I'm pressing done now, I'll see that the label has been added, and the button interaction is displayed in the middle of the video, and I can double click on it to edit. Let me press save to preview this. I'll just press play here, or I can just play this big play button. So we'll see the video stops, and we'll have the fact box about raspberries, sorry. And it will disappear after 1 second. You can see the bookmarks displaying here. And when we get to the button interaction, I can just press it once to open it. You can see the image here, which I can expand and minimize. And I'll just answer correctly now to check that it works. So yeah, the multiple choice question works as expected. I can press continue, and the video will continue playing. So now for the final part of the demonstration, using the interactive video content type, we'll be adding adaptivity to that last multiple choice question. So depending on whether the user answered correctly or incorrectly, I can send the user to various points of time in the video. So I just have to go back and locate the multiple choice question, select it, press the edit button, and the multiple choice editor will load. I will scroll to the bottom of the editor where I find the adaptivity group here at the bottom. I will press on it to expand, and I will add an action on all correct, and I will add an action on wrong. So these are the two options you have: either everything correct, do something, or something wrong, then do another thing. So what I want to do is I want the video to jump to 13 seconds out into the video if the user has answered correctly. Because I know at this point there is an angle change in the camera showing the raspberries. I will add a message. You get to see the raspberries from a new angle, which is the feedback text that the user will be given. There's also a button that the user has to press in order to continue, and I will just add continue here. I could allow the user to opt out of this and just continue watching the video, but in this case I want the user to jump to where I have defined this time point. I don't want the user to not being able to jump to that point in time in the video. And I will also provide an action on a wrong answer. So what I'll do is I'll send the user back to the very beginning of the video if the user answers incorrectly. I will add the message again. You need to pay more attention, and just the same label as before. Of course, you can customize this however you want, but I've just chosen to have the same label on the wrong and the correct buttons. Now this adaptivity won't actually be previewed in the editor, so I have to save to make sure it works the way I want it. We'll just play the video from the beginning, and I'll read this and pay specific attention to this first point here, that raspberries contain more vitamin C than oranges, and I will continue watching the video, and the button interaction will pop up here. I will press it. I will answer incorrectly this time just to see how it works. Press the check button and it says wrong, you need to pay more attention. And then when I press the continue button, I'm supposed to jump back to the beginning of the video. And there you go. I start from the beginning and I get to read the text again. So that was a quick way of showing how adaptivity can be added to a question interaction in interactive video, which allows you to send the user to various points of time in the video. And that was the that wraps up the demonstration about the interactive video content type. So we'll move on to the course presentation content type. And please remember to ask any questions if you have any. So what we'll be going through in the course presentation scenario is the following. We'll go through adding some basic layout and cloning slides. We're going through adding some simple content to the slides in the course presentation. We'll look at the opacity background settings for various types of content. And we'll also look at the keywords list at the end. So I'll jump back into my browser and the h5p.org interface, and I will show you what I am planning to create here. So we have a course presentation which is called 3 Things You Probably Didn't Know About Raspberries. It contains of 6 slides. You can press go to get started, and each of the slides here contain a fact about raspberries. And on the 5th slide there is a quiz where the end user can test his or her knowledge about this subject. I've also added some custom interaction here, so you can press the arrows to move back and forth between the slides. So that's more or less what we're going to create. We'll have also the keywords list here. I forgot to mention that, which allows you to jump directly to any slide in the presentation. So we'll get down to the nuts and bolts here on how we create this sort of presentation. Again, I will use h5p.org and the feature for creating H5P content that's available there. And I'll start by giving it a title. This one is called Course Presentation Webinar Example. And I will select Course Presentation from the Content Type drop-down, which should load the Course Presentation editor into my browser. Okay, so what we hear is a clean slate. We have the slide content area here. We can add various sorts of content. We have a keywords menu up here in the top left corner, which controls the keywords menu on the left side here. We'll have various buttons for adding content to our slides. We have some extra ones here. And at the bottom, we'll have some buttons for slide behavior, where you can move slides, you can delete slides, you can duplicate slides, and add new slides. So that's where you start off. Now, what I want to do first here is I want to create a sort of template for my presentation, which contains the basic layout of the presentation, and then I can clone this slide to duplicate that layout, so I don't have to create it from scratch for every slide. The first thing I want to do is I want to add a background image. I'll select the image tool here, and in the same way I did in the interactive video content type, I can drag it and I will place it in the top left corner of the slide, and I will release the mouse button and the image editor will appear. I will now upload the background image that I've used. So this background image is downloaded from Wikimedia Commons and has a Creative Commons license. I've adjusted it slightly to have the right proportions so that it fits into the course presentation slide layout. The proportions are approximately 2 in width and 1 in height. Normally I would add copyright info here, but I'll skip this for now. Okay, we'll have to add some alternative text, so that will be displayed in screen readers, for instance. Background image of raspberries. And since this is a background image, I won't add any hover text. Okay, so once I press done, the image is updated and previewed here on the slide. I will now resize this to cover the entire slide, like that. And of course, if I want to edit it again, I can double click it or press the edit button here. Right, so now we have the background. What I also would like to do is to add a start screen for this presentation. And the start screen will contain a text with a header and some basic information about what this presentation is. It will also contain a button which the user can press to start the presentation. So I'll just start by dragging a text box onto the slide on top of the background image. Again, I will just copy this text from the presentation I have prepared previously and paste it in here. I will change the color of the text to make it fit this theme. I will select this color Now this one. And I will make it a little bit bigger. So let's put it at 175%, and I will also center it. I'll center this text as well. Okay, so I've added a text box with some basic text, and I've changed the color and the size of the text. What I also want to do is I want to change the background opacity of the text box. If I press done now, we'll see that it is completely transparent, which is fine in many instances, but in this case, I would prefer to have it semi-transparent. So I add a 50% opacity. You can see it will have a white background with some transparency in it. Again, I can resize. The box by pulling in the edges or in the corners. So I'll try to position it in the middle. And yeah, there I go. I have a short introduction to my presentation. So what I want to do now is I want to add a button, which the user can press in order to go to the next slide and actually start the presentation. I'll do this by adding a text box again, which will only contain the word go. I will add the same color as previously, and I will resize it and probably make it bold as well and center line it. Now in this case, I wouldn't like the button to be, or the text box to be transparent at all, so I'll set the background opacity to 100. So here is the big button I have, and I want to resize it to make it look better. So I'm just pulling in the edges to get the same width as the other text box here, and I will pull it to display below the text box here. I see that I didn't get the red color quite right, so I will go back and change this. Oops, still not right. So there we go, should be the same now. Right, so by now this is just a text box, but I want to add some button functionality to it. And I will use the go to slide tool here in order to get that working. So I'll just drag it and drop it onto the slide. I will give, what this does, it allows me to press it, and then when pressing I can specify a certain slide that I want the user to be shown. So the title of this is Get Started button, and it should take me to slide number 2. I press done. So what I want to do is I want to resize this a little bit so that it has approximately the same size as the button, and I will place it on top of the button. I can just preview this to show you how it's working, but first I will duplicate this slide because currently I only have one slide. So I will duplicate this, go back to slide 1, and on slide 2 I'll just delete these objects because I won't use them in slide number 2. First I deleted the go to slide button, then I'll delete the text box, and again delete the top text box. And I will save the interactive content and just preview how it works. So when I press the go button, I go to the second slide, and that's what I wanted. Now I'll just quickly set up a layout for the 4 following slides. So what I want to do is I want to add some navigation on the sides here. I want a text box displaying the fun facts about raspberries, and I want images on the right side here, just to give some multimedia content to make it more interesting. So I'll start by adding the text box again, like this, and I will cheat a little bit and just copy the text from the presentation I have prepared, and I will paste this into the text field here. Again, I'll add this color and I will resize it to get it a little bit bigger. I will also have the red color on this text as well, and I will perhaps add a really big number 1 here. I'll set the background opacity to 50% again, so that was the same I used previously, and I'll press done to preview it. So I'll just resize this box a little bit like this. So here we have the first fun fact about raspberries that I want to display on slide number 2. And I'll add a decorative image to this first fact. I press the image tool and dragged it onto the approximate position on the slide where I want it. And I'll add this raspberry image, which I have prepared. And I would just add image of raspberry as an alternative text, and I will copy that and add it as a hover text as well. And I press done when I'm finished. So I just want to resize this to make the layout a bit better, approximately like this, so I can see the boxes have approximately the same size and they are placed in the middle of the slide, which looks all right. Okay, so this is the basic layout, and I will just add the navigation buttons on the side here. Of course, the user can always navigate by using the progress bar at the bottom, or by using the arrows here. But I would like to add another option for navigating, which are buttons on the side here. So I'll add a previous button here and next button here. So what I'll do is again use a text box. I will drag it onto the middle left part of the slide, and I will just add a left arrow icon. I will resize it to something like this, 225. Let's try that again. Yep, and I will set it to bold, and let's give it a gray color to make it a little bit more discreet. I want the background opacity to be 0, so totally transparent. So there we have the arrow. I'll just resize the text box a little bit, and I'm placing it at the vertical middle of the slide, approximately at around 200. And I will do the same thing for the right part here. So I'll add a right button as well. Add the right arrow. Oops. Just want to have this color. It's supposed to be 300% in size and bold, and that should be approximately the same. So here I can see that this arrow has a Y position of 200, and I could, manually correct this if I like to 200 here to make sure they are vertically level. I'll just resize it a little bit more. So now again we have 2 dummy text boxes. They don't do anything at the moment, but I'll add the go to slide tool to make them clickable. So I'll use the go to slide button here, and I will add it like this. So press to go to next slide, and this should then go to slide 1, which we're currently on slide 2, and we want to go back to the previous slide, and that will be slide 1. And I'll make it cover the entire height here of the slide, and I will do the same thing on the right side here. Press to go to next slide. Oops, that was not what I wanted. I added the wrong interaction. I'll add this one. Press to go to next slide, and that should be slide number 3 since we're currently at slide number 2. Again, I will resize this to cover the height of the slide and position it where I want it. Now, this was supposed to be previous slide. Okay, so there we have the basic layout. Now what I want to do now is I want to copy this layout to 3 more slides. I'll press the clone slide button here 1, 2, 3 times. So now I got 3 similar slides in addition to the first slide I created. And now I can just simply edit this content. And I will go back to my pre-prepared slide once again, and I will copy the text from there. I will press the edit button or double click on the interaction. I'm making sure that I'm on slide 3 now and not slide 2. And just paste this and replace number 1 with number 2. Every other setting is more or less the same here. Of course, I would like to add another picture, and I'll add a picture, or replace the original picture with a picture of golden raspberries. I could just update the alternative text and the hover text to make it correct. So there I have the picture of the golden raspberries, and that makes the second fact about raspberries on the 3rd slide. I will move on to the 4th slide, and I will update the content on the 4th slide. Double click again and steal the content or the text content from the previous presentation and add it paste it into there like that, and replace number 1 with number 3. Right. So now we got 3 different slides with 3 different facts about raspberries. What we will have to do is we will have to update the navigation buttons. So on slide 3, we want the left button to go to slide 2, which is the previous one. And since we're on slide 3, we want this one to go, the next button to go to slide 4. Same thing for the 4th slide. The previous should be go to number 3, and the next button should be go to slide 5. I'll just update the numbers there. Oh, I forgot to update the image on that last slide there. I'll add this one instead of the original image to get some variation. And at the final slide, we'll add a single choice set question. So I'll just clear the image because I want to replace the image with a single choice set task. And I find this here. I drag it from the toolbar and onto the slide, and it opens up the editor. So I will start by adding the first question: which fruit contains the highest share of vitamin C? And I'll add raspberries and oranges. And here the first alternative is always the correct one. I'll add a second questions. Which type of raspberry is particularly sweet? which is actually the golden raspberry and not the black raspberry. I'll add a third and final question. How many seeds does a typical raspberry contain? We know that this is between 100 and 200, and the incorrect alternative would be between 50 and 100. And there you go, we have a very quick single choice set question here added. I will resize it a little bit to make it fit into the layout. And I'll make sure that the background opacity is 100 so that it gets a white background. So there we go, we have a course presentation with one introduction slide. We got 3 slides containing one fact about raspberries each. And we got a quiz slide. I'll just update the text here and add quiz and test yourself. Or test your knowledge, perhaps more appropriate. And what I'll finally have to do is to remember to update the navigation buttons here. So I'm currently at slide 5. So to go to the previous slide would be to go to slide 4. And we only have 5 slides. But when you save a course presentation that contains a quiz question of some sort, another slide is automatically added at the end, which contains a summary of what you've answered. So I will go to slide 6 here, which will be to go to the summary slide. Okay, I will save. So here we have the finished presentation. You'll have the introduction slide. You can press go. You can press the buttons here on the side to navigate between the various slides within the presentation. And I'll have the quiz here at the end. Now, the final thing I want to show is the keywords list. And I can bring that up by pressing this button here. I will give this first slide intro, will be the title. Second slide, vitamins, because it's about vitamins. The third slide, colors, since this is about the colors that you can get strawberries in. The fourth slide is about seeds. And the last slide is the quiz slide. Okay, so now I've added some keywords to each of the slides. Now we'll select the auto hide here, and that would automatically make the keywords list disappear. So when I press save here, I get the same presentation as previously, but I get a title here at the bottom, and I can navigate directly to anywhere within the presentation. Go to the quiz, and I can answer these questions. I answered this one incorrectly, of course. This one, I know this is correct. And the third and final one, yep, I'll go for this one. I get a summary at the end of the quiz here. And finally, I get the summary slide at the end here. So I know that we're running out of time now, but I've covered what I wanted to cover in this webinar so far. If you have any questions, then please use the interface in GoToWebinar to ask me any questions. While you do that, I will try to answer some of the questions that I got before the presentation in the registration form. But again, feel free to ask anything while I speak. So we got some questions about the XAPI, how that works with H5P. I won't be able to demonstrate it now, but every time the user does anything, for instance, clicking on a button, moving to the next slide in a course presentation, any kind of action, that will generate a statement from H5P. And then it's up to the learning record store or the learning management system to handle that statement. So the LRS or the LMS can take that statement and do something reasonable with it, like store how many questions the user got correct and how many wrong, and what amount of time the user spent on a particular content or question. So what XAPI does is in H5P is that it generates statements about everything the user is doing, and it's up to the environment how to interpret and use that information. And XAPI will perhaps be the subject of an upcoming webinar in the future, but as mentioned, I cannot demonstrate this right now. The second question about the Moodle plugin. There has been a lot of questions about creating a Moodle plugin for H5P, and we are working on it. We have planned it, and it should be available sometime in 2016, hopefully in the first quarter or first half of the year. But we are aware of the need for a Moodle plugin, and it's very high on the list of priorities. But there are a lot of things to do, and we just have to finish what we've started before we can focus more on the Moodle plugin. And any contributions, any comments from you guys would be valuable in order to move the Moodle plugin development forward. We also got a question about creating mobile-friendly content. We are always focused on trying to create content types and generate content based on those content types that are fully responsive and which views nicely on tablets and mobile phones in addition to desktop screens. And we will continue to focus on mobile-friendly content as we move forward, as of course it is getting more and more important to be able to enjoy the content on a mobile phone as well as on any other screen. So it's definitely one of our main focuses, and we are aware that some of the content types that we have available do not have an ideal performance on mobile phones, but being all HTML and CSS3 and JavaScript based, everything should be viewable. But we will definitely be focusing on creating a premium user experience on all content types in the future. And the interactive video content type has just been updated to make it work even better on cell phones and on smaller screens than it used to do previously. So yeah, we are really focusing on this. It is now 4 minutes past our scheduled end time. So unless you have any more questions, I'll think we'll round this webinar off. I certainly hope that you've learned something in this webinar. It was great to see so many of you guys participating. This session has been recorded, and we will upload the recording to our website, and we'll also send you the links to the recording later. I guess that's it for now. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any comments, feedback, please feel free to use the forum or the comments field on h5p.org, or use the contact form, which is also available on h5p.org, to get in touch with us. The social media channels are, of course, always open. That's it. Thank you, and goodbye.